Hello and welcome to the Money Marketing Podcast. I'm Kimberly Dondo, Digital Content Manager. And in this week's Weekend Essay podcast, we have Chief Reporter Lois Vallely looking into investing in art. Take it away, Lois.
I wrote a weekend essay in March about whether Chanel handbags are a good investment. Unsurprisingly, the response from certain readers was scathing. One even said such matters are not worthy of a serious financial publication. So I was pleased when my colleague, Jean-Baptiste Andriot, sent me an article from Bloomberg Business which said something very similar to what I'd said. It got me thinking about other forms of investment, which is what has led me to write this weekend essay. For as long as I can remember, I've loved art. It was my favourite subject at school and I used to spend hours in the art room working on my pieces. I found it relaxing in a way that nothing else is. I also enjoy spending time in art galleries, getting lost in the paintings. My favourite is the National Gallery, but I like the Tate Modern as well. It holds some really good exhibitions. What I've never really done, though, is consider art as a long-term investment. But over the past few decades, alternative investments such as art have become increasingly popular, it seems. Tamer Osman, founder and chief executive of Mintus, which is an online art investment platform offering shares in exceptional contemporary art, believes alternatives have become a very important allocation for the pension funds. It's widely known that certain artworks are worth a lot of money. One of the most expensive artworks ever sold at auction was Pablo Picasso's Les Femmes d'Alger, which fetched an eye-watering $179.3 million. In 2018, Christie's auction of the collection of Peggy and David Rockefeller set a record high for the most valuable private collection when it sold for $833 million. So, unless you're a billionaire, the likelihood of you spending your money on such a thing are pretty slim. But what if you could own part of it? Unlike investing in so-called collectibles, such as watches, cars, whiskies, wine and designer fashion, which tend to fetch a couple of £100,000, or even a couple of thousand, the value of famous artworks puts them into the high-value category. And with around $65 billion in annual transaction volume, art represents a massive asset class. From a financial sector point of view, real estate and private equity funds are the two very big alternative assets. But in the past 10 years or so, art has started to make it into that category, says Osman. From 1986 to 2020, the percentage allocation of alternative investments like art in pension portfolios shot up from 5% to 25%. But the contribution that 25% makes to a portfolio is almost equal to the traditional investments, which make up the remaining 75%. Aside from the historical headline-grabbing returns, Osman points out that contemporary art has also shown a low correlation to traditional asset classes such as equities. Warhol artworks, for example, have apparently made an average annual returns of 12.5% over the past 4 decades. The value of the global art market is estimated to be $1.7 trillion, and within that, the annual volume is about $65 billion. It's a huge market, more than half the value of the private equity market, which is about $2.5 trillion. One major perk of art as an asset is that its value doesn't rise or decline with the stock market, according to personal finance help website Money Under 30. Over the past 40 years, art has always done well against inflation, because it doesn't just go up and down like stocks and bonds do. This is an especially pertinent point considering the current market turmoil we find ourselves in the middle of. It also makes art a useful addition to a balanced portfolio. Osman suggests individuals should put 4 or 5% of their total wealth into arts. It's highly regarded by a lot of wealth managers, and it's often seen as a wealth preservation asset class. Another big draw, and perhaps the most important, is that you get to be part of something. When you buy stocks, you have no motion for them, says Osman. However, when you buy a share in art, which can be purchased for as little as £2,000, you get to own part of an iconic piece of history. But be warned, investors should not expect a big payout from art alone. Money Under 30 warns on its website that for most people, art will only be a small fraction of a well-rounded investment portfolio. It says don't rely on an art investment for steady income. And investors shouldn't expect a quick return either. Profits won't happen overnight, and instead experts recommend a time window of 10 years or more. Often, art investors will include paintings in their estate planning as assets to pass on to their descendants. If I ever find I have a spare £2,000, I now don't know what I'll do with it. Should I buy a Chanel handbag or a share in an Andy Warhol? I have, though, now got the urge to raid my art box.
Thanks, Lois, for a very interesting weekend essay podcast. We do hope that you enjoyed it. Please do keep up to date with all our new releases via Podbean, Apple Podcast, Spotify, and everywhere else you get your podcast from. You can also keep up to date with all our new content published on the Money Marketing website, as well as our print edition Money Marketing magazine, so make sure to subscribe. Follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. See you next time.